Welcome back, everyone. It is Tuesday in the NBA. Only one game on today as the Indiana Pacers are on the road in Boston, taking on the Celtics for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Today in this video, I'm going to talk about my favorite player prop. I have a same-game parlay. I have who I think wins and covers this series, and I have Trina's play of the day. More on that coming soon. My name is Austin from Calling Our Shot. Today, I'm joined by a special guest. Well, I wish it was Trina, who will give out her favorite pick at the end of the video. It is going to be a guest that I like a little bit more than Trina. Don't tell her that. A 4-0 sweep on Sunday, a beautiful day. Exactly what we needed. The groom is out. It hasn't been here in a minute, but it's out and in full force. Let's talk with it, do a victory lap, dive into today's picks. Miles Turner's under in rebounds free. That guy runs away from every rebound known to man. Josh Hart's under in PRAs. He fouled out. Was playing decently, but obviously did not look 100% healthy. Then we went to the late night game. We had Jamal Murray's over in points that was cashed in the second quarter. Naz Reid looked like we had no chance. And then with this putback dunk in the fourth quarter, he went nuts after Cat picked up his fifth foul. Beautiful 4-0 sweep. The goal today is to go 2-0 in our picks today and hopefully turn that 4-0 run into a 6-0 run. So dial on in if you are new, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, let me know your favorite picks down below in the comments. And before we dive into the picks, I want to talk about one thing, and it's important today because they have a great value, and we'll talk about it in a second. You can get $150 in bonus bets on Bet365. Pretty good offer. All you got to do is sign up, top link in the description, bet $5 on tonight's game, get $150 in bonus bets on Bet365. Win or lose, details down below. Bet365 available in Colorado, Louisiana, Arizona, Iowa, Virginia, Ohio, and Kentucky. So if it's in your state, go sign up for it. Best odds on our same game parlay by a pretty wide margin is on Bet365. We'll talk about that a little bit later in a few minutes, but we're going to dive into the picks today, and we're going to start with the player prop of the day. And this is a guy on the Indiana Pacers, a guy that I actually like in this matchup for this series, and his name is Aaron Nesmith, who I like over 9.5 points, minus 115 on DraftKings. Now, Nesmith obviously is a role player for the Pacers, and I think they're going to need him in this spot here tonight. Now, if you were to look at Nesmith so far this playoffs, been up and down. He's had some tougher matchups. The Bucks series was good for him. Knicks series, not as good. But in this playoff so far in 13 games, he's averaged about 10.5 points per game. So right above this average. We need 10 tonight. He scored 10 plus points, hit this over in 7 of 13 games. Now, good thing is he has had a pretty high floor, 6 points in every playoff game. So getting not close to the line. 6 is not 10, but close enough. And he shot 35% or worse in 4 of the 6 games he went under. So it really hasn't been a question about volume for Nesmith. It's mostly been he just shot the ball poorly. But in the regular season, if you remember, he shot about 40% from 3. And while the Celtics are not a team that gives up a ton of threes, they take a ton. They don't give up a ton. I'm anticipating a Nesmith will be needed to score a little bit in this matchup. And I think he's going to get the opportunities. Last matchup against the Knicks, he struggled scoring the ball, but it was a large in part due to a couple bad, shooting games, like a 2-for-7 type game. I anticipate him being needed here once again for defense, because this is a Boston Celtics team. We know they have a lot of size. They have the wings and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, got Drew Holiday, Derek White, Kristaps, who knows when he'll be back, but they got Al Horford in there too, plus some other guys off the bench that they rely on to score. And I like his track record against Boston. They've played 5 times this year, a lot of matchups. And in those games, we saw him score 9 points in 19 minutes in their first game against each other, all the way back in like November. And then the other games, 14, 8, 17, 26 points. But when I look at this, the 19 minutes, he's going to play more than that tonight. I anticipate him playing above 30, but the volume's there. 9, 13, 13, 10, 17 shots. 17, an anomaly. He's not shooting 17 times tonight, but I think he's going to have plenty of opportunities to score tonight, and I think he'll get some open looks. The Pacers and Celtics are going to play probably pretty fast, and this is much faster than the Knicks series. Knicks are one of the slowest playing teams, so I see some open looks in transition. He's obviously a pretty good three-point shooter. You don't shoot above 40% from 3 and not be a decent shooter, and also he's a guy that if you come too hard on those closeouts, he's going to be able to drive to the hoop, and we know he can dunk on people. He dunked on Mitchell Robinson in that series against the Knicks, and he's just a guy that I'm confident can get to the lane and can score. Without Kristaps down there, I'm not too afraid of Al Horford in terms of rim protection. So I really like Nesmith tonight. I don't think it's a play that a lot of people will be on. You won't load up on Twitter and see Aaron Nesmith. You won't see that. I think he'll be a pretty sleeper play. I like him to get the volume. Should be needed for those minutes to probably guard Tatum or Brown. Think he probably guards Brown tonight if I had to guess, but don't quote me on that. I saw them in their last game. They had Pascal guarding Jason Tatum. Either way, then they kind of switched matchups here and there. So I like Aaron Nesmith, though, tonight over 9.5 points, minus 115. If you had to take it at 10.5, I don't love it there, but I probably put this up to about minus 130. Now, that's my favorite player prop of the day. Now we got a same game parlay. I don't typically do a lot of these because they've kind of been cursed. I feel like when you do like 4-leg parlays at like plus 104, you're kind of going to get cooked. But I like this one for the value sake. 3 legs. Here's the 3 legs and here's the odds. Jason Tatum, 25 points and 10 plus rebounds, and Jaylen Brown, 20 plus points. This is plus 175 on Bet365. Now, as I talked about Bet365 at the top of the show, if you haven't signed up for them and it's available in your state, you're missing out on some good odds here because they have plus 175 for this. You go to FanDuel, they're around plus 155. Fanatics around the same odds. BetMGM's down to plus 145, and DraftKings all the way down to plus 136. So if you have Bet365, they're giving you a much better payout here. And while I would give you out 2 straight bets, in my opinion, game 1s can be very tricky into bet. I feel like game 1s and game 7s can be pretty tough because by game 7, you already have 6 games of data. The lines are going to be sharp there, although we did dial in and go 4-0 on the game 7s. Game 1, you're coming in here, you don't know what the game plans are going to be from each coach. It's mostly a feel-around game. I think there's good value here, and if this cashes pretty easily, which I think it could, we probably will run it back in game 2. Now, let's talk about this one, and in the 4 games this year, we'll talk about Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum's only played in 4 or 5 games versus Indiana, but in those 4 games, 30 points, all 4. He also hauled in 12, 13, and 7 rebounds. So getting the rebounds in there and getting the points too, which is all we can ask for. Obviously, Kristaps Porzingis out. It's going to help him with the rebounding because another big guy they don't have to play. And the big guys, they don't really love Luke Cornett off the bench. And then outside of him, Hauser and Peyton Pritchard aren't really big rebounders. So Tatum's the guy that's going to be down there grabbing boards. And we've seen him be a really good rebounder in the playoffs. And he's been scoring the basketball more. 25 points in 4 straight. And he's had 10 rebounds in 7 of his last 8 in the playoffs. So we know Tatum's going to get the volume. We know the Pacers are a team that has in this playoffs really played a lot of man-on-man coverage. They're not really double teaming. You might see maybe Halliburton, who they'll involve in a lot of screens, maybe hedge, but Tatum's going to have some one-on-one looks. And if I'm the Pacers, I want this Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum to be the guys beating me. I don't want Derek White going 7 for 7 from 3 and things of that nature. And we've seen Tatum play really well against them. I think he'll continue to play well again in this series. I think he'll be pretty consistently scoring 25 or more in this series. I like him for 25 points, and I like the rebounds, given that Al Horford's normally their second rebounder. He's going to have to go out and guard Miles Turner from the three-point line. Jason Tatum should be the number 1 guy down there. The only guy that he'll probably be guarding is Aaron Nesmith, and if Nesmith wants to go off, fine with me too. I really like him to grab boards and get points. Now, Jaylen Brown on the other side, I like him to get 20 plus. I considered his over at 24.5, but I feel like that could be a little bit sharp, but Brown's been really good against them. 25 points in 4 straight versus Indiana. 20 plus in 10 of his last 12 against Indiana. This is a guy that, like I said, if I'm the Pacers, I am going to beg Boston to just go one-on-one and try to beat me like that. When Boston's really cooking, it's when they're driving, kicking, and they're getting the 3-pointers from Derek White, Drew Holiday, Al Horford, Hauser, Pritchard, you name it. They shoot the most threes and make the most threes in the NBA. But if you can make them into a one-on-one team, you're letting Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum score 30 each, but all the other guys don't contribute more than like 30 points. That's where I think you can beat the Boston Celtics, and that's where we've seen teams like the Cavaliers have success against them. Teams like the Heat have success against them. So all 3 of these legs, I love the Tatum rebounds for obvious reasons. I love Tatum to score the basketball, and love Jaylen Brown to score the basketball tonight. I mean, this game could be tight, could be a blowout. I don't really know, but I really think this SGP at plus 175 is worth throwing a unit on to win 1.75. You could add more legs if you want to, but adding more legs, obviously you get better odds, but it always is getting a little bit cute. I looked at some assist props. I don't like losing SGPs on assists. It pisses me off. I really think this has a good chance of smacking. So Jason Tatum, we need 25 and 10 from you. And I got Jaylen Brown for 20 points, plus 175. I think we got a chance there. Now let's move on. I don't want to have a spread lean in this one, but I do have a series prediction. And I'll talk about that now. And then I will get into Trina's POD, which we'll talk about at the end of the video. I like the Pacers plus 2.5 in this series. Now, that is plus 130. I'm not personally advising you to put your money on it right now. I don't think the Pacers win game 1. And if they do, congrats, tip my cap to them. And I should have put money on them plus 2.5 in the series. Plus 2.5, obviously they either win the series, which I don't see happening, but they take it to game 6. That would obviously cash it. They could lose 4-2. At plus 130, I think it's decent value, but if they lose tonight, I'm curious where the lines go. So I might add some money to it if it does, that they do lose tonight, which I do think they lose game 1. We've seen the Celtics play well in game 1, then choke in game 2. And we've seen the Pacers adversely play terrible in game 1, and then they start to kind of figure it out, play better in games 2, 3, 4. So and the Pacers are obviously the best test that the Celtics have faced so far. I mean, they had the Heat with no Jimmy Butler. Then they had the Cavs with absolute just disaster. Jared Allen was dead, and then Donovan Mitchell missed the last few games of that series. So I think you had a good test here in the Pacers. I'm just not going to bet it just yet, but Don't be surprised if in Game 2's video, if they lose, that we put some money on maybe the Pacers, depending on the odds that it changes to. If plus 2.5 gets above plus 200, maybe put a half unit there. Or if the minus 1.5 or whatever gets to decent value, maybe a plus 1.5, might put some money there, or not plus 1.5, plus 3.5, not terrible value. Maybe we'll look at that. So stay tuned for that. Not going to force a play onto that, but I do think the Pacers got a chance to force it to 6 games in this series. I don't think they win it, but hey, I wouldn't be mad if the Pacers won. If they win tonight, good for them. I probably won't touch their series prediction. Now, Trina's PO day, what you all waited for. Now, Trina is my wife, and yesterday was our first anniversary. Throw up a picture. Great day. We got married last May 20th. So, I figured why not bring her back for her PODs? Well, she's not here to give out the POD. I gave her my phone, told her to cook something up, and here's what she cooked up. Tyrese Halliburton over 18.5 points. Look, I don't personally love the pick, but I'll let her do whatever she wants. She watches no basketball, so if you want to fade this, go for it. I'm not tracking it towards my record, but I do want to note, a few years ago, I asked for her PODs. I think it came to the conference finals. I was like, Trina, we're bland. We've been betting basketball for 200 plus days in a row. Give us a pick. And she actually was dialed in. She went like 7-1 when she gave out picks. So I'm not saying this is going to hit, but it is her POD. Do whatever you want with it. We will track her record for the conference finals into the finals. Could be a free fade, or she could be dialed in. We'll see. But that's her favorite POD. Halliburton over in points. I honestly hate it, so probably smack it. So those are my favorite picks of the day. Y'all have a wonderful Tuesday. If you want to go check out our MLB video, you should go do that. We went 4-0 over there yesterday. Bet on a good run. Hopefully, MLB 4-0, NBA 4-0. Hopefully, this is a 2-0 day. We got another 4 picks in the MLB. Go tap into that. Y'all have a wonderful Tuesday. Let me your favorite picks down below. Let's have a great series, and I'll be back tomorrow with Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. I'll talk about the series in that video, and we'll probably be back with another Trina POD, which could be the freest fade of your life, or she could be dialed in. I don't know. We'll figure it out tomorrow, but I'll see you guys in the next one. It's Austin, signing out. Peace.